Thursday, July the 7th, 2022, and I'm down in the Weald again, one of my favourite areas, to undertake a walk that I haven't done at all previously, from Stonegate to Robertsbridge. There is a very similar walk from Stonegate doing a circular that I do need to revisit after 13 years, but having looked at the two options today, I've decided to do this version, and it's just as well that I did, because my train didn't stop at London Bridge when it was planned so to do, and I'm now an hour late because I missed my connection. There's only an hourly train service down here to Stonegate from London Bridge, and Thameslink have messed things up for me. However, looking on the bright side, this is only a 9-mile or thereabouts walk today, so the gods have kind of helped me out. So although it's 1 o'clock now, I should still be done by around 5:30, 6, because it's a 2-hour journey down to this point. Bit grey at the moment, but I'm assured by the reliable Met that we will get some sunny intervals this afternoon, which is possibly another help with me being late. It's about 20 degrees at the minute, so quite pleasant, offset by a cool northerly, northeasterly wind. So let's see if this turns out to be another Wealden wonder, as most of them are, particularly at this time of year when it's a bit drier underfoot. So let's get cracking. Looks like the station is now something of a residential property. Almost immediately opposite the station, turn half right up this concrete track, passing an overflow car park on your left and a sheep field on your right. Some bizarre looking sheep here, quite large as well. Don't know what breed they are, but very odd looking. So I've just passed that farmhouse over there with some vicious dogs the other side of the fence, or the hedge rather, and here we've got some of those young beasts. Decent vista already. Now although it's not marked up as such, apparently we go through this gate. Okay, there's a good start. Got a herd of beasts over there, and of course I've got to go down the right hand side of this field per the notes that I'm currently following. We'll switch to the GPX track shortly. All's well, managed to circumvent them. Bullocks as well, always dicey creatures, just like teenage humans really. Got a point to prove. So, having come out of that field, we now enter classic Wealden woodland. Nice mixture of deciduous trees at the moment, and as you'll straight away notice, very little bird song, as I intimated 2 weeks ago. Didn't do a walk last week because I was elsewhere, but yeah, within those 2 weeks it's gone dramatically quieter. Old Chiff Chap is still around. So we now have to cross the rail line, and I just heard a train hooting, so there you go. it will pass any second. It will be a fast one, of course, because you only get an hourly stopping service at Stonegate. Voila. Well, that was unusual. There was a second train as well. Anyway, talking of level crossings, I see the Ramblers haven't had a great deal of success with the prevention of closures in Essex. Their headline makes out they've had some success, which they have, but not as successful as I would have hoped. So the railway line networks, rail, can apparently do what they like with these crossings. I don't think a precedent has been set yet in the work the Ramblers have done in preventing closures. So, you know, a lot of paths are going to be lost, because I'm sure they'll try it on in other counties now. They've already done so in Cambridgeshire and what was the other one? Escapes me. But yeah, watch this space. So, having come across the rail line, this is the vista that awaits us. Looks like they've been working on the embankment as well. There's the house on the right referred to in the text. The pond has dried up. There's no footpath marker, but the way across the field on the left is clear, just about. Though it hasn't been ploughed as it should have been. Wonderful selection of thistles and other wildflowers in this corner. Possibly some giant hogweed at the back there. Cross over a footbridge here, which I believe is crossing the river Rother, R-O-T-H-E-R. There is a pond down there in this clump of trees referred to in the text. Walking across what looks like some old rape seeds, plants, but it's humming with hoverflies, not bees, I notice. You might be able to hear that. They love this purple stuff. Yeah, there are some drone bees there. Then, having trudged through that growth, which is chest high, you then arrive at the bridge described in the text, which I'm still using. And the gate, of course, as I read in the comments, I think, is still locked. There was a solitary beast in this field I've just crossed. I can't tell if it's a bull or not, but usually it is when they're on their own. Again, that shouldn't be happening where there's a public footpath bridleway. Which, there's the bridge over there. New cattle grid and bridge here. From whence we turn half left and aim for a gate going into the wood. It's brightening up a bit, I guess. Half hour in. Interesting. Wonder why that is. Once again, it's just the chiff-chaffs we hear. A sign of recent times past. Nothing in there now, of course. Probably all gone to join the mint sauce, unfortunately. Point 20, no need to go up there. Turn right here. Still smell the cut hay here. Wonderful. So they must have to hoot at that level crossing that I crossed over. It's happened several times in the background thus far. Makes sense, I suppose. Should use an environmentally friendly one then. Just passing Burwash playing field. So yeah, this is the Rose and Crown, Burwash. Possible early lunchtime stop. It's about 2 o'clock now, and I started late, don't forget. Burwash Church and Memorial. St Bartholomew's, Burwash, which I must admit I don't recall. Presumably I would have taken lunch here on a previous walk, but I might not have done today, even if I'd started on time, because it's too early in the walk, just over 2 mile in. But you do get a decent vista from the seats just outside the church, so if you're looking for a picnic spot, this is a good one. How's about that, eh? Wonderful. And there's Kirsty's seat, who died in 1994. Young lady, born in 79. Very short life, God rest her soul. And there's another seat adjacent. And this is inside of St Bartholomew's. As you can hear from the motorbike in the background, not the quietest of locations for a church. Looking back from the pulpit, interesting. We've got the Bell Inn opposite the church, but I'm not sure it actually is operational. Have to check that out if you're interested. So here we have Mr. Kipling's statue, for which Batemans, which is en route, is renowned for. One of his novels. Passing the blacksmith's tea and coffee shop over there. Village sign. Plus the Bear Inn just beyond it. An alternative lunchtime stop. The onward journey is by following this footpath sign on the edge of Chaunt's house, interestingly. So at this juncture we take the half right, and as you can see, National Trust lands now, hence the excellent view ahead of us. There you go, wonderful. Some kind of obelisk up there in the distance. Passing this finger post on my left across a footbridge, all being well. Yep. And this walk, like many in the Weald, could be a completely different story in the wetter months. And there is a bull. But this time the Trust, who seem to do a lot of this, have put an electric fence between him and me. Not much of one, mind, but that's more than they did up at Cambridge, Anglesey Abbey, that time when I walked across a field with a bull in it, which of course they shouldn't be doing. So here we have Batemans, Rudyard Kipling's former residence. Don't recall filming this before though. So there you have it. There is a tea room here as well. Wonderful, good solid building that. Look at those chimneys. Brilliant. Passing Dudwell Farm on the map. Take a right here for Wood's Corner. And as you can see from the shadows, the sun is now out as forecast, so well done the Met. Point 32 of the text, which I'm still using, just past Riverdale Farm here. Take that footpath marked there, left. This is indeed a wild footpath, needs some attention, East Sussex County Council. It is almost a riverbed actually, and likely is in the winter months. And the farmer uses it as a graveyard for his old machinery. This one being an Ipswich, some kind of plough or hoe. Amazing, eh? Jump over this stile now. Interesting that this clover has grown on the footpath across this field, almost guiding us to where we need to be. Yeah, interesting that. It's got to have something to do with the way our feet disturb the soil, I suppose, because it's quite evidently thick, as you can see there. As usual down this way there are a number of precarious stiles. It's all well and good putting in a dog gate, but what about maintaining it for the main traffic, or better still replacing it with a kissing gate? Just don't understand this antiquated attitude down here. See, here's another one with a loose base. They're such a liability for the landowner, because I think they're the ones responsible for repairing these things. And as you can see, there's another little tributary dried up. Wonderful little glade this. And as you can see, nothing in the major tributary either. The old hay's being turned over there, and I guess they're the two trees I've got to walk between, interestingly enough. The old butterflies seem to like this mown hay, speckled woods and so forth. Very old New Holland tractor there, in keeping with the landscape really. Wonderful. Everything about the Weald is oldie worldy. Love it. Burwash Church in the distance there. This is point 44 in the text. Just about to cross a low hurdle. Lovely vista. So at this juncture, I do a left, and I've picked the wrong time to do road walking because it's 20 past 3, and within the 10 seconds I've been stood here, 3 cars have just passed me, all at top speed. I need to do a left down this lane. It's school. Yummy mummies have got to pick their kids up, so yeah, that's the problem. Got a mile of road walking now at the wrong time, but there you go, story of my life today. Decent view on my left here as I continue walking along the lane towards Socknersh Farm. We're about the high point of the walk today now, around 300 foot up. And as you can see, very pleasant afternoon now. Okay, we will be coming off Fontridge Lane, this is, shortly. And it hasn't been too bad. A couple of agricultural vehicles. No school traffic as yet though, fingers crossed. So that's interesting, your right's on a public bridleway. Bit different to a boat, obviously, and I've yet to establish what the rights are on a public highway, because a lot of public highways around where I live are being turned into boats. Byway, open, all traffic. So there must be some distinction, but I don't know what it is. So we're now following this private road up to Socknersh Farm. Now this place I do remember, and if you look carefully there, there's a pink touring bus or something of that ilk. This place used to be owned by Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck apparently in the 60s, and they used to use it as a party venue, never actually lived there themselves. But this part of the walk I do remember, first bit that I have done. What a wonderful flower meadow. Just been talking to a lady that farms this land, and she wouldn't reveal who lived in the property, Socknersh Manor, but it's got to be someone in the entertainment business for sure, with a tour bus of that kind, and being not with the heritage that it has. Yeah. Wonderful cornflowers, not sure what the yellow things are, or the lilac ones. Absolutely wonderful. That is some tour bus, not being stereotypical, but I'd imagine it's a female artiste. Yeah. Wonderful little shepherd's truck type thing there, with their own fishing lake. Canada's, I believe. Well, there's today's death. A half-eaten crow, or rook. Difficult to tell from this position, but I'd imagine that's a sparrowhawk that started that. Not long ago either. Yeah, I remember that property when I was last down this way 13 years back. Hasn't improved much since, but someone's giving it a go. Look at the way that roof buckles. Good luck to them. Wonderful vista. More glorious views on my left. Just listening to that biplane in the background. That's about all the jet noise I've heard today. Wonderful. Well, here's a tributary that's actually got some water in it. Lovely, classic Wealden terrain here. .59, I believe, of the text, which I continue to follow, unusually. .64 of the text. Got some kind of community down here, living in the woods. I often come across this in the Weald. About 100 yards of road walking there. We're now next to Wyland Wood. Didn't encounter any traffic. And as I say, next to Wyland Wood, onward journeys across this stile. This section of road walking, as I'm stood outside Scallon's farm, is far busier and has got more idiots on it as well. About 4:30 now, so it's coming home time for many of them. White van mans, etc. So there's a pew with a view over Robertsbridge, I presume. Nice position for a final cup of tea, and I could do with one, but I'm going to wait until I get to the station, which is 1.5 miles hence now. Well, here's one herd of bullocks I don't mind being next to, because they're on the other side of the fence. Poor things are absolutely inundated with flies. What an existence, eh? Get attacked for your teenage years by flies and end up on the butcher's table. Yeah, not very nice, is it? And there's another couple of pews on my left as I descend. Lovely, eh? As we started with a chiff-chaff and we're ending with a chiff-chaff. And I haven't heard much else in between other than a black cap today. So we are well into the molting season, I would guess. And the tail end of the feeding season for those second and third brooders. So these pews are obviously associated with this psalm. So these houses are part of the Darvel Bruderhof community, who apparently are Anabaptists and hold property in common. So this would be their estate, I would imagine. Lots of market gardening going on over there. Fantastic. What a great idea. Buy your duck's eggs here, 4 for £2. So as you can see, by all accounts, we've just come out of Bishop's Meadow, which you can Google if you so wish. Now in Robertsbridge, as you can see. Yeah, and having just walked under the railway bridge, this path I remember very well. That stile has not been touched in the 13 years since I was last down here. Absolutely shocking. So here's a possible tea time stop, the Ostrich pub opposite Robertsbridge station. And of course Robertsbridge is the home of the Rother Valley Railway. Google that if you're interested. A few bits of live rolling stock there. So that was a decent enough walk. Didn't start very fortuitously, but decent enough. 9.5 miles, around 4 hours. Very slow pace today. Again, it's getting a bit worrying, this. Old age is creeping in. Not to worry, it's not a race. So yeah, that was a free walk, SWC walk. 112 completed. So, until the next time, when it sounds very much like we'll have a new Prime Minister. Really need a new party as well, to be honest with you. One that represents the people. Anyway, let's not get political. Till the next time.